All right, well, welcome to the Select Board meeting for Monday, November 16th. All meetings of the Select Board are being recorded. If anyone else is recording, please make it known to the chair. Boy, look at that, Hope just left. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th order suspending provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's March 15th order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Select Board will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the AG's webpage. The town will persevere to use conference call capabilities regularly for other parties to listen in and participate accordingly. If not possible, we will post on the town's website an audio recording as soon as possible after the meeting. Okay, so first things first, Pledge of Allegiance. Russ, your turn. Can you lead us in the pledge tonight?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Russ, is that clock right twice a day or?
Twice a day. My great grandfather made that clock.
Really?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Pappy Fox.
It's a great place to hide things.
Well, now that it's out there for all of Zoom and both people that are going to watch this recording, public comments. Anyone have any public comments this evening? Okay. Acknowledged payroll warrant 2110 from 11/9 in the amount of 240. This isn't minutes, right? No. 243, 437.27. And I need a motion for the open session minutes of 11/9 and the executive session minutes for 11/9. We'll do an omnibus motion for those.
Joe Didi will make the motion.
Russ Fox will second.
Doug Moglen, aye.
Joe Didi, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
Okay. Approve vacation leave balance carryovers due to COVID-19 response per Labor Council. And did I see a motion that we're supposed to put forth for that there, El Capitan?
Yeah, it was the one you and I looked at a week or two ago, and we didn't have it in the folder, so we ended up tabling this issue last week.
I know, I just saw it tonight. Here it is.
Yes,
so
sir.
I need someone to put forth a motion that says to move to allow department heads and other essential staff to carry over up to 15 unused vacation days beyond their normal allowed carryover for this year only.
I'll make the motion.
To be effective December 31st, 2020, due to the current COVID-19 pandemic. Said additional days must be used during the 2021 calendar year.
Joe Didi, so moved.
Russ Fox will second.
It's a roll call vote, please. Doug Moglen, aye.
Joe Didi, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
Carried unanimously, and welcome back, Hope. We missed you. Approve PVPC CDBG housing agreement number 1 for 20 Fred Jackson.
Joe Didi will make the motion.
Russ Fox will second.
Doug Moglen, aye.
Joe Didi, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
Approve contract extension with TCC Hill and approve a MOU by chairman for elected workload activities. I need a motion for that, please.
Joe Didi will make that motion.
Russ Fox will second.
Doug Moglen, aye.
Joe Didi, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
Unanimous. Authorize chairman to sign MOU with IAFF local unit for full-time member for fixed night shift. Don't make that motion yet. I saw Deputy Chief Stefanowicz on the phone. Hello, Deputy. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. You want to give us the nickel tour?
Certainly. So as we continue to seek out full-time paramedics, and we have some shifting going on and a few other EMTs that are going into other places, it's left a few openings on the overnights that we're unable to fill. So we do have per diem paramedics that we're getting up and running through the precepting process. And this is just a little bit of a stopgap measure. We've done it in the past when we've had some openings on the night times by moving one of the full-time employees to the position. So right now it's going to be 3 nights. It'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. It's going to be filled by Carrie Bradbury for the time being. And the same MOU that was used approximately 2 years ago, it was in place. And this is just a step, a bridge, if you would, till we get our full-time people and our per diem paramedics up and running.
Okay, so I think we need a vote of the select board to authorize the chair to sign the MOU once it's ready.
Joe Didi will make the motion for the chair to sign.
Russ Fox will second.
Doug Moglen, aye.
Joe Didi, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
That was easy there, Deputy.
Very easy. So we do have the MOU that was looked at by council, and we'll send that over to you tomorrow.
Fantastic.
All right.
Thank
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thanks, Richard.
Update from COA on holiday meal distribution.
Yep, as you know, they generally would be having a meal where Tuckers would come in and do on-site dining at the Council on Aging, Mr. Chairman. And this year, that's not going to be possible because of the circumstances that we're dealing with under COVID. So as opposed to that day where we would just be giving out the colder meals that come in from Highland Valley, there was thought about considering something, a hot meal from Tucker's that would be in the heat trays in the Council on Aging, and then we would just walk those out to the door and make it a grab-and-go meal, just like we've been doing with the regular congregate dining, but it would be a holiday meal. So having looked at that, there's different options where we could charge them the normal 13 to 14 per meal, or a small fee of 3 to 5, and the select board covering the remainder of the cost, or the select board being the sponsor of the event and using their gift account. So if the board is so inclined with one of those options, it should designate one of its members to work with myself and the director to achieve an acceptable outcome.
Thoughts?
I make a motion that we donate $1,000.
I'll second that motion. Sorry.
Motion's made and seconded. I can almost guarantee you snow now on December 16th. Doug Moglen, aye.
Joe Didi, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
Carl, does that help you?
Yes, sir.
If you need anything else from me, let me know.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Any update on I saw that the conservation restriction for the greens moved along from conservation and planning. Is that now going to be ready for signature soon?
It is. It's working its way through the Conservation Commission, I believe, at tonight's meeting. And also, as Mark Beglane is looking for, we want to make sure that the planning board does acknowledge it. So we want to have some acknowledgement in support of that document from the planning board, since it's a requirement of that subdivision.
Yep. I thought they covered it during their meeting last Tuesday.
And that's fine, as long as, but this is the new, this has got new wording and format in it, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
So we wanted to make sure they got another chance to look at that and for the conservation to sign off. And then when it comes after both of those boards have looked at it, then it will come to the Board of Selectmen as the final signatory. And then we're instructed to provide it back to the developer's attorney at the recommendation of our attorney. And they will submit to the Secretary of Environmental Affairs. Because this will have to be signed off by Kate Theorides.
Correct.
This
A
way,
frequent visitor to our town,
and with this way,
at least once.
we're not missing any important board that is involved in this matter.
No doubt.
So that won't be a vote. That'll, at least at this point, it'll come to you at a later meeting for you to vote on.
Correct. Did you want to talk at all about the green energy again at this point, or you want to carry that for another day?
I was prepared to talk about it, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
You know, when we first looked at this quite a few years ago, one of the biggest concern, I think, was the building of new structures and the impact that would have. And now the stretch code is changed where it basically is the same. Our next issue was the use of cars, i.e. police cars, when they had met their useful life in the police department. But I think that we need to probably look at this program and begin the process of getting into the program. There's monies available that could help us with our lighting. I think most of us saw the email from Brian Sullivan because of the article in the newspaper. And I have a funny feeling because of what's being said at the state level and the federal level that there's going to be additional funding coming down the road. And I think it's probably would be a good opportunity now for us to get involved with this program.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Steinhardt.
Yeah, not only would this help with some of the contemplating some of those other projects we want to look at, like at a very minimum, the 58 decorative lights that we have in the downtown quarter and converting those over to LED. But these projects monies also help communities examine HVAC issues in their municipal buildings. And that's going to be an issue that we're going to continue to look at for the fire station, the town hall, and the police stations. So, and to a small extent, the library. So all of those are on that list that was provided to us under that tie and bond study. So there alone, you're going to have opportunities to make use of those types of funds. So you can either think about this at a future meeting, talk about it, or Brian did extend an invitation for him and Mark from the Green Energy Coordinating Program out of Springfield for them to come back on to a future agenda if you feel like you have more questions or and want to talk to them. So they're there and they're available to answer any question that the board might have.
You know, this might be a great project for Russ Fox to kind of spearhead and to look at all these options that are ahead of us, since he's the more earthy guy. You know, greenhouses, Mr. Fox owned over the years, and the solar energy and whatnot that he's been involved with at, you know, depths. So it probably would be a great time for Russ to maybe jump on board and reach out to those folks and see what he can put together for us. Almost like a Christmas song. You know? Oh, wait, the tree's in the background.
Mr. Fox, are you accepting of this awesome responsibility?
I would be honored, Mr. Chairman, to spearhead this, as the vice chairman has said.
To come, you know, to come in front of us and talk again is wonderful, but you know, get to the gritty of it and really see what it's about and how it's going to help us, Russ.
Yeah, I will work with the CAO.
You do that.
On this issue.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate you taking that on.
We really appreciate it.
And we will report back to you by the first of the year, sometime the first of the year,
after
before the budget season.
There you go.
Okay. We don't need to do anything with streetlights right this minute.
No, Randy is updating Mr. Brown. He did send us the old numbers of what that was going to be, but he is updating those numbers for the downtown corridor.
Great. And now that we have completed, I believe, Carl, we have completed the department head contracts and MOUs and MOAs and ASAPs
Yeah.
and some other acronyms, we can now proceed on to beginning the negotiation with the successor chief, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if you'll send me a couple of dates with myself and that individual, we can start that process.
Great. Reminder, school roundtable this Thursday at 5:30. That is going to run right up against the Board of Health meeting, so we're going to have to keep our eye on that. Mr. Joe.
Hey.
How are you on the sewers?
I went today to get everything worked out, and our secretary wasn't in today. So tomorrow I should have it worked out for the following meeting.
Excellent.
Didn't see that coming, but it's okay.
Review of regional public safety dispatch. That's an ongoing thing, right? We have no current action on that, right?
No, I think, well, at some point, you should determine when you would like them to appear before you as a work session presentation.
Okay.
That would be the Westcom entity. And that should be, if it's an agenda appointment at a regular meeting, it's a long appointment or it's a work session at another time.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir.
I would probably suggest a work session in early January so that we can, before we get into the budget season, because if we're going to make a move, that certainly would be part of the budget discussion.
That's a great idea. Okay, we shall do that.
Okay. I will, we'll look at the meeting dates. Doug and I will be looking at the meeting dates because right now your first meeting in January is maybe the 5th or something like that. So we could, are you amenable to doing it then or another day in January? It's going to be at least an hour.
Yeah, no doubt. But I think you're going to look at where we're probably not going to meet. I would probably put it either not the 4th, probably the 11th.
Okay.
If we were to do it during a regular meeting and call it a work session, depending on how the agenda is shaping up. But
Well, yeah,
this meeting is going to be very, very quick. If we have a light agenda, 1 hour appointment's not too brutal.
Right. Well, that'll be after not meeting for 2 weeks because of the holidays.
But I say we would have probably met on the 4th.
Okay, you're right. Okay.
And then coming back from the holiday. So then usually the following meeting will be
Yeah.
lesser.
Okay.
And let's face it, where are we going to go?
That's true. We'd normally be getting ready to go to the MMA meeting and packing our bags.
Yeah. Where are we going to go? Okay. Other old business. I had a discussion with Randy on this ongoing, some of this water billing discussion. We've had a couple of really good talks about some potential longer range thoughts on how we could provide better data to people so that they're not surprised by a water bill. And Randy is off taking some actions on talking to some people on what some of those things might look like and what they would cost and so on and so forth. These meters provide a ton of data. Unfortunately, I don't think right now we're in a position where we can share that data. It's just not set up to do it. So if we're probably going to be able to provide, looking into ways that we could provide customers of that data their own data, right? They could see their water usage. They could see that. They could set up alerts if there was a problem, much like you have with your bank account or your credit card, right? You can set up an alert on your credit card to send you an email if your card was used without you being present. Well, you could do the same thing if your water usage goes over 10% more than you use on an average day. It sends you a little text. Well, why don't we do that so that we don't have this type of thing where we're billing semi-annually and someone gets a big whopping water bill that they weren't expecting because there was a problem or they were just using more water than they were using previous. I don't think that, there was some talk, around about, doing more frequent billing. And I didn't see that as a way to do it, because it just comes with the associated cost of the additional billing, which invariably gets passed on to the ratepayers anyway. So perhaps there's a way to look at this. So Randy's they've been very amenable to talking about this and looking at this, and see if there's a way to provide that data to be more consumer friendly. So other old business, anyone?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The 5 out of the 6 buildings are done in terms of the duct and vent cleaning. And the fire department is due to have theirs next week. And we're going to be having a punch list tour on the project this Wednesday to see where things stand on that project. And this will be good because cleaning that fire station area will be timely as we're just winding down the other project. And there's no more masonry work or grinding or, mortaring and anything else going on. So this is going to be good to finish that project out and clean that up and also work with that fire station GC contractor on all the other punch list issues that are going on there. And that's going to be a Thursday meeting this week, is a punch list meeting on the fire station.
So did that window leak last night?
I was not made aware of it, but it is being evaluated and there's another vendor that the designer wants to come down and look at it, and he may make a decision to pull it out and do some other work around it with flashing.
Because if it didn't leak last night, it ain't gonna leak.
So everybody's looked at the window. The window itself is fine. It's just making sure that the things around it are going to hold up. And we're going to make sure that we come to the appropriate conclusion on that. It was not necessarily part of the original specifications of that project, but if it has to be added to the scope, it will be, and it will be addressed.
Very well.
Because we're going to be going through, some punch list items even till next spring. So we've got time to watch that issue even when we get to substantial completion.
Other old business, anyone? Mr. Fox, Mr. Didi?
Sir.
New business.
Let's see, we have a invitation from the Council on Aging for the Sand for Seniors program for this upcoming Saturday, the 21st at 9 a.m. The Council on Aging organization is looking for individuals to help join them in delivering different containers, the pails of sand and salt to the seniors so that they'll have what they need at their homes for the winter. And there's 28 locations that are being contemplated for seniors' homes.
Moglen and Moglen are on the case. We're all signed up.
Yep, okay, I'm gonna put myself down too. And I have another issue. I've been obviously coordinating with Dennis Clark from Channel 15, Peter Cowles, who works with us, and as well as the Westfield media for their cable system, and a gentleman by the name of Dean LeClaire over at our local software and hardware vendor on making sure that we're looking at camera locations and the types of cameras so that we can get to the next step of being able to broadcast meetings from certain town hall offices and hearing rooms and meeting rooms in the future. So that is being researched now by a group of people.
Great. Somebody had asked me about that a little bit, and the feedback I gave. So this is so when the day comes that we're able to utilize our town hall again, that the selectmen's conference room, the auditorium, and the land use conference room at a minimum would be able to host meetings that can be either broadcast to Channel 15 and or Zoom. And regardless, even when the pandemic is over, at some point where we can still leverage that technology to broadcast meetings out to Channel 15, and or continue to use the Zoom platform. But basically to make it bog simple, right? I don't want to have a producer that comes in to broadcast your selectmen's meeting and a planning board meeting or board of health meeting or any of those. It should be something you push a button, it turns it on, the camera follows the person speaking. If someone's speaking in the audience, it goes out to that camera, that kind of thing. It's doable. It's doable, I believe, within budget of what we have allocated in the Channel 15 accounts. So
Yep, we
that's
are
what-
carrying those dollars, right?
but I just told them to, keep it bog simple, because I know, Westfield does it, but Westfield has a dedicated team of people that actually go and basically were producers for their board and commission meetings.
Right.
Like hair and makeup, or
Dude, there's not enough
Oh.
hair and makeup on the planet for this
oh, I
crowd.
was just wondering what you
Hope
meant.
accepted, right?
Ugh.
Okay.
But anyway, that's what they're trying to drive at. Because right now it's kind of fiefdom. Dennis runs the Channel 15. He runs the box that gives them the ability to push stuff to Channel 15. So it's great. We have when Dennis hosts a meeting, his meetings are on Channel 15 and wherever. So the Conservation Commission, the Ag Commission, et cetera, et cetera. This meeting's not. I want to, I like to try to get it where just about any meeting that we have in town can be broadcast if you push a button or schedule it with the Zoom thing to just do it. And it turns on, does it, goes away. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be on. So anyway, that's where we are with that. And like I said, budgetary wise, just to put money around it is within the channel, existing Channel 15.
Yep, we're carrying the dollars. We're carrying the dollars in the budget from Channel 15 cable revenues, and ultimately, it's one of those things. We want to make sure we do it right. And if we do 2 rooms this year and we get to do a 3rd room next year, we'll do it that way. But we're going to do it the right way.
Yep. Okay.
Because I remember that was one thing that Joe, had wanted to make sure that we were going to address was the recording of meetings, both audio and video. And we're getting there. We're making that progress, Joe. It's not as fast as you wanted. But
Well, we had to wait until we got the right people involved, so the pricing came way down. And I think we're there. I think the pricing is acceptable now, and it'll take us another 6 months or whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
if anything from the pandemic, Joe, on the recording side, every meeting gets recorded now automatically, even the video.
Yeah.
So it's taken that out of anyone's hand of having to push a button on a tape recorder or choosing not to. If you're going to have a meeting and it's on Zoom, it gets recorded. That's just
So the
how we're set
finance
up.
committee meetings are recorded?
Yes, sir.
Oh, they
Every
must
single
have.
one of them. No, they know it. I mean, it's
So,
a
yeah.
feature of Zoom. We turned it on when we first started.
Yeah.
So you have to
Well, I think-
physically stop it in order to not do it. So it just avoids when we had a problem when we first started where people were forgetting to click record and we didn't have a recording. So now it automatically does it as soon as the meeting starts.
Yeah, it's funny because when they had the option to do it, all they did is bitch. And now that they don't have the option and it's just happening, I didn't get one complaint.
Well, it's just
Funny
like
how that
anything
works.
else. I mean,
Yeah.
in deference to those guys, I mean, it's just like anything else. Don't knock it till you try it, right? It's
Right.
unobtrusive. The meetings go on. There's still joviality and frank discussion.
Yep.
It is what it is.
It's a win-win.
And Jim Middleton updates or uploads most of them direct to the YouTube site within a couple of days of the meeting being held. And take a look at how many people view them. So for what it's worth, hopefully, maybe some of this other stuff that's going on in town that people have, made known that they didn't know about this and didn't know about that. Maybe this will work to increase involvement in some things when it's a lot easier to pop in on a Zoom than it is to drive to town hall and come sit in the land use room or our selectmen's conference room for a meeting. It's a lot easier to join on Zoom. So anyway, other new business, Carl?
No, sir.
Mr. Fox.
Mr. Chairman, and you kind of alluded to it, so I'm going to take it to the next step. We have an issue with the cell tower that's currently in front of the planning board, and people are wondering about the process and how the select board was involved and how the process all began. And it seems that we're getting requests for response. All three of us are getting the same question. And I think that, and this would be my suggestion for this particular issue, we're very fortunate that you as chairman were involved with the planning board for 15 years and have a very good handle on this process, and you're very good at explaining the process. And I think that it would be good if the chairperson could respond on behalf of the entire board. That would save, this confusion. And we still, if people have to speak to one of us directly, that's fine. But I think one response would probably be the better way to go on this particular issue, if the chairman would be amenable to that.
I totally would be okay with it. I mean, I've been fielding most of them, and then I come to find out that, the same email went to all three of us. And then we maybe, before a meeting starts or whatever, and we talk and we go, oh yeah, I did. And we all talk to the same two people, which seems to be counterproductive as far as just allocation of time, right?
And it also, I know that I've been bothering the CAO for information, and he's been bothering the town planner and the planning board, and I don't know, I guess, Doug, you've been asking questions, Joe's been asking questions. So we're having this overlap, and I don't think it's efficient government. And again, I'm not trying to say I won't respond to anybody. If they need me to personally respond, I'd be happy to. But I think when we have technical questions or how a process works, one voice speaking for the entire board, I think would be the best thing.
Joe, any objection?
No, I tell everyone you're the Class A student. You did great. Russ is more of a cheerleader, and I was smoking in the men's room. So, what version do you want? And you just, Doug, you do know it. You understand a lot of this, and I agree. You get, I talked to someone today too. It didn't go as bad as I thought it was going to go. I'm more of a doer than a talker, and sometimes I come across a little rough. So it is what it is. We all said the same thing in different formats, and I don't want to get tied up with the technical dates and times so they can start pointing fingers. And, we don't need to eat each other alive on any of this. Life's too short. So yes, Douglas, if you can, and I told the people today, you buy an ice cream cone, you get Joe Didi. It's that simple. I'm here for 4 more weeks before we close for the season. My doors are always open, just like Mr. Fox's. There doesn't have to be a death to go to Southwick Florist. You can go at any time. They're there. And we do talk to people every day. Doug, you're probably the hardest person to get a hold of, even pre-COVID, because you're in an office setting.
I joke about that all the time, Joe. It's funny that people, very rarely does someone show up at Wally Computer looking for me, right? And you can walk into the Moo, or they can walk into the Southwick Florist and find Russ on the other side of a counter and you on the other side of a counter. I'm the same way, but it just doesn't happen as much. People don't make a purposeful trip over. I try to be as accessible as possible on phone or email or whatever else, and try to be responsive, knowing that people aren't going to come barging into WCA looking for me. So I try to do my share. And on this issue, I'll gladly take point and continue to respond to people as they ask. I did ask the planning board chairman last week, and he was kind enough to do so during the hearing, to kind of lay out the procedural history for everyone, so that we everyone kind of had a grounding in how we got here, right? This didn't just fall out of the sky and land in front of the planning board. There's a almost 4-year process now that's been going on with this, and that there were various steps to authorize the Board of Selectmen through town meeting to do the things that we did. And then the planning board has their job to do it and there's a whole lot of it. And I've also been doing some other research around different other aspects of it in case people ask questions, so I'll be glad to continue to answer those questions. But I appreciated the planning board chair taking that step and adding that to their public hearing process, because I don't think everybody knows. They just all of a sudden they hear about this thing and they weren't involved or had the time to get involved in it, and it's only at this late stage of the game that they become interested in it. And so it having that process laid out was helpful to everyone. So, okay.
Thank you.
Russ, any other new business?
No, sir.
Joseph?
No, I think flu shots are Wednesday though. Down at Wally Park. We've got nothing better to do when you want to get
18th.
18th. Yeah.
Ready.
Looking for a needle. We got them. If you're Russ's age, I guess you get the super shot. But if you're us younger guys, you get the regular one.
I would like to correct the vice chairman. I'm not eligible yet for the super shot, and I've already had my flu shot.
Have you had a shingle shot yet, by the way?
Your concern.
What about the shingles? I know 2 people that have shingles lately, of all things. Hope you're on mute.
Who muted
I don't know. I think Hope's not talking to us anyway.
Oh.
Sorry, children,
Oh.
hazards.
No worries.
Sorry.
Hope, you have any new business for us this week?
I just want to clarify the $1,000 is from the select board gift account.
Gift account.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Gift account.
Thank you.
And Dennis, you got anything for us?
Not tonight.
Okay. Well, then we've exhausted all of our conversations, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
One more quick thing. Russ, I know you talked about the Christmas party. We got weeks before we got to worry about that. You were talking about trying to figure out how to do a drive-through Christmas or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I maybe you and I can get together, Joe, and figure something out.
Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Russ Fox will second.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Joe DDI.
Russ Fox, aye.
Great.
Great.
Good night, everybody.
Quickest
Good
one
night, all.
yet.